Joe Rogan's friend. You know, this guy came up from being on Joe Rogan 1,000 times. He depicts his life as like an adventure, even though he won't say it. You know, he has all these stories, which is very suspicious to me. You know, you're not supposed to, or you can't remember stories. So when there's too many details in a story, to me, it kind of sounds like BS. Anyways, this guy, for some reason, people find it funny to be a criminal. You know, that's how he describes himself. You know, also, he's like, kind of makes his life out to be, you know, hardship and going through all this struggle. But if you really think about it, to me, it just sounds like self indulgence, you know. Obviously, he's overweight, you know, and he's had a problem with drug addiction. It's like, man, what is hard about like giving into what you want, you know? Like, how do you become overweight too? Like, from not moving, you know? So that makes him lazy, even though he has said many times he's worked many jobs, you know, it made it seem like he walked away from all this opportunity. Like, oh, I used to do roofing and all this. I used to get paid 100 grand. But we're supposed to believe because he loved comedy so much that, you know, he just walked away from this opportunity. Another thing is like, you know, Joey Diaz, not only does he have a problem with food, but, you know, he talks about his addiction. And he has so many stories, you know, and a lot of them are kind of boring. You know, he just talks about like, oh, we used to smoke or snort powder and just be in the motel with all these women and let me eat your monkey. It's like, really, man, if you really listen to his stories, they're not that interesting, you know. And another thing is, you know, Joey Diaz, his biggest credit is like Spider-Man 2, where he's like in the train. He says, if you gotta get through them, you gotta get through me. Something like that. And to me, that's funny because he has all of this discussions about like cinema, you know, the craft, you know, getting better, and like that's all he has to show for, you know, which is pretty funny. But yeah, Joey Diaz, he's really like a lazy, overweight, you know, drug addict dude. I'm not even gonna get into the accusations of SA, you know, because that could go on for too long. But Joey Diaz, man, you're not really a mobster dude, you know. He plays up the whole like Vito Corleone persona, you know, even though he's Cuban. He wants to make it seem like he's Italian, you know, but that's not even cool anymore, you know. People don't think mobsters are really that cool, so he's got to chill with that. Also, he looks like this lady from, I forget the name of the movie or the lady, but yeah, he reminds me of like a woman for some reason.